there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy, and I am here with my lovely co-host and wife, Rihanna.
Hello.
You got a hair on your nose?
Is it a Luna hair?
Probably.
Yeah.
And we're here with our other co-host, Luna. We are taking non-financial bets on when she's going to
Tantrum.
cookie chocolate on your lip.
What?
I'll get it.
I'm pretty sure he did not actually mlim. Don't lie to the internet.
I could have lemmed.
The internet is not a place for lies.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
So I think episode 8, which is like 25 episodes back at this point, we did a stream called the Sigil Watch, where we looked at the first 11 or 12 sigils of the world of Tellest. So we got through from where the yellow phoenix is, all the way down to where the little purple hourglass thing is. And today we're going to look at our little lemon tree. And we'll go for about 10 sigils, I think, today. And just talk about the sigils themselves, talk about the cities that made them, and
why they are the way they are.
Why they are the way they are, and Rihanna and I will discuss amongst ourselves. And if anybody wants to chime in, they absolutely can. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready, Andrew?
Lemon.
Lemon tree. So, the sigil that you see on the screen right now belongs to Foster Villa, also known as the City of Orphans. It was a city that I believe we introduced in As Darkness Falls, but we had heard about it prior to that in the first book, Bindings of Fate. It's the city that Hokeland of Crescentshire comes from. So it was a city that we really wanted to kind of dive into a little bit, and it's a little bit like a tropical kind of area, but it's mostly kind of deserty. They're kind of known for an oasis that they have very close to town, and that's why we've got the palm tree. And it's not supposed to be like a weird lemon. It's not a lemon party. It's
Oh no.
Your face when you replied to it. Not like a happy, like, oh, there's an in-joke from the internet times past. It was just like, there was a microaggression there. It's not two lemons laid on top of each other vertically and horizontally.
No, I don't want it.
No, I don't want it. It's supposed to be the sun, but we didn't want it to be like the sun that we have for the Child of the Stars symbol or anything like that.
A lot of our sigil design is looking at the other sigils and trying to make sure that like the nations don't copy off of each other or look too similar.
Yeah, they're not allowed to do that.
Right, but I do.
That's
love
cheating.
But I love the color palette on this one, like the burnt orange and stuff.
It gives me like coffee company vibes.
Coffee company. I'm thinking cigar, like Cuban cigars.
I get that too.
Yeah, I think the vibe is just very like it's not necessarily a militant sigil. You wouldn't see it, and cower in fear. It's like, hey, come to our town. We're nice.
Well, yes, they want tourism, but the problem with Foster Villa and tourism is
they're all orphans.
Well, the reason that they're orphans is because one of the other things that the city is known for is the dreaded death winds. Outside the city, if you're caught in like a sandstorm, it very well could drive you mad, and then you could end up killing yourself. The city itself has some problems with thieves and rogues and stuff like that.
Sounds like scurvy, and scurvy can be cured with lemons.
It's true. Let's take a quick look at where it is in the world. So we're going to go to our Draconis map. Yerps. And as that's loading up, we'll see if we can't find that sigil up there. So we've got the city of Foster Villa over here. Deepwater Oasis should not be that far. That's like a day's walk. It's much closer to Foster Villa, but Foster Villa is right around here and kind of like that little nook of the mountains and everything like that. That probably should be brought down a little bit as well. But so it is kind of far from Adelatha, which is kind of like our main hub. And in between Foster Villa and Adelatha is a orc capital that we haven't seen yet, but we've talked about a few times. So, if you go into this desert, you gotta be prepared.
With your sand boots.
As Scar says.
What?
As Scar says. Be
Scar.
prepared.
Oh, Scar. I thought you were saying something in French.
Hey, Scar says.
like an escargot. I don't know. I'm in a weird mood.
You are in a weird mood. I love you.
Thank you.
So the second sigil that we're going to be looking at today. Oh, hello, Pickledorf. Too many tabs open. Not enough tabs open. I got a tab for every place under the sun. So the second the second sigil we're looking at is Searchlight. So Searchlight was a town that we developed specifically for specifically for a short story / novella that we worked on, and the name of the story was the same as the town. So Searchlight is supposed to be a town that's very inclusive and open to all the races and everything. So we typically kind of sequester the two races, or the two factions amongst themselves. You have the goodly races, quote unquote, and the evil races, and they're not really that. It's kind of screwy to put them into that kind of pigeonhole or anything like that. You
don't want to typecast the races.
We've got good gnolls, we've got good Laganos, we've got evil humans, we've got evil elves.
Right.
There's good and evil is a spectrum.
The separation is probably just fear-mongering by other nations and trying to protect their own people, but then you have places that are congregations for all sorts, usually like trading hubs and things like that, and this is definitely a everybody's welcome kind of place for good or for bad.
Right, yeah. I think one of the reasons, too, that Searchlight kind of makes sense is a lot of the people who end up in Searchlight are there because they don't like the idea of, I'm destined to hate you because of the way that you are. Typically, it's someone who's going, I don't want to fight that gnoll just because they're a gnoll and I'm a Kaja or a kobold or something like that. So you end up going to a place like Searchlight. I will try and see if I can remember where I placed Searchlight. I don't remember if it's in...
By the sea.
It is by the sea. I think it's in Ravane. It might have been that I never threw it on the map, but we'll see. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, right there by the sea. And we do know that there is like a smaller town on the other side of this set of woods, because that's where I think it was Kareem was the
Minotaur?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. That was the forest that she had to walk through. The Icarus was like, well, I can just go right over it. No problem. So.
Did I help come up with the idea for Searchlight? I think I did. I think we what-ifed.
I mean, we what-if everything in the Tellest universe. So.
That's very true.
Alrighty, let's scooch over to Versali Virai. Versali Virai is a big one. So
we D&D'd there.
We D&D'd there, and we continue to D&D there, and it's been the hub for a couple of stories that we've had out there in the Tellest universe, most notably Arise, which is the second story in the Dreamwalker trilogy. So Versali Virai has these 3 boats on their sigil, and it's because they are a coastal city as well, and they're known for trade and their naval presence and things like that. This is, I think, the first sigil that we had with like a bicolor field, and Francois did a really good job with this. I think we just had some very basic sketch put out, and he ended up kind of bringing it to life in some cool ways. As Rihanna mentioned, we do have Versali Virai as kind of the hub for our D&D campaign. We had a brief kind of introduction in like a dungeon. That was where I wanted my characters to meet. And then they ended up coming here, and everything thus far has been in Versali Virai. I think out of all the places in the map making that I've done, Versali Virai has the most maps.
And I think that part of the fun of it is it's a fantasy location. Like, Tellest is mostly high fantasy, but to me it feels very like a Moroccan bazaar
very
kind
much
of.
So.
Like it's a little spicy. It's a spicy little area, and I think that there's a lot of potential there to have fun with stuff, and there's a lot of opportunity to talk with people, and anything is possible there.
Yep. We've never really had a lot of like city-based maps or anything like that, but thanks to a couple of people who are definitely more talented than I am when it comes to concept art and like city art design and stuff like that, we were able to make Versailles Varai really the thing that first popped and came to life and everything. We've got just a little chunk of this world, or this part of the world, kind of mapped out in the D&D maps. We've got this little bit right here. You got like a nice little square area here, and then there's a little bit of an area. Oops, excuse me. Is our Etsy store blowing up?
Somebody's favoriting all of the wands.
Every single wand. There's a sewer that you can access in like this general area. So we've got the 4 maps for the overworld, and then eventually there's going to be the 3 sewer maps, and then the mines under under the town, and then the Enkindled Brotherhood hideout. So this zone is much more populated than anything that we've had.
So we've been on the land, under the land.
Yep. And like you had mentioned, it has kind of like a Moroccan or like French Indo or Indo-French kind of vibe. Right. It's got like that kind of feeling to it.
Kind of eclectic, like culture mishmash, but in a very bohemian kind of way.
Yep. And so this is it's basically our hub on the continent of Lustra. We'll look at a couple other ones. I think just the one today. But this is the one that obviously we've been spending the most time in. So let's get out of Versailles Varai, and we're going to go back to Draconis for this one. So Sun Garden, I think, is one that you helped me develop a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whereas the past 3 towns that we've been in so far, they don't have any, anything against magic or anything. Sun Garden definitely does. No. Sun Garden is filled with hoity-toity people who they don't like the idea of magic. They think that wealth is power.
Right. They're very think Bridgerton. The magistrates and whatnot.
But their sigil's really pretty.
It's very pretty.
So we wanted to go with something where, again, with their wealth, they kind of like to throw up decorations and things like that. So what they have is their 3 roses in a circular design. It's the first thing that you see as you're walking through the city gates. It is the capital of Daltane, in Draconis. Now, there's a debate about whether or not that means that it's actually the capital, because there's also a Minotaur capital in Daltane as well, and they will claim that they're the bigger city, they're stronger, they could wipe out Sun Garden, so they're the actual capital. But of course, if you're against magic, there's a good chance that you're against races and stuff like that too. And as far as we know, the only people that we've seen besides werebears and Sun Garden are humans. So
spoiler alert.
I mean, it's been out for a long time at this point, so but very pretty piece. I think briefly we were using this as our phone backgrounds and stuff like that. So good times. This is, I think, one of our earliest, like, concept. It almost looks too modern, but I really like it. Like, Francois did a really good job with this. Westwick is a city that we introduced in book 1 of this entire, tapestry, and it ended up changing in a lot of ways. Not even in, the different timelines. Right from the get-go, it changed into, hey, we're gonna make this town disappear and rebirth it in a different way. You're looking like I don't
remember.
So we have that fairy like hut artwork, that concept art that we have.
The Wispus hut.
Yeah, Wispus. Wispus's woods. So do you recall his? No. So Wispus he's the mayor of Westwick, but he's also a very powerful artificer wizard, and he lives in this giant mansion right beside a beautiful lake in Draconis. And what he ends up doing is shrinking down his mansion and moving all of the people from Westwick in after Blackland attacks. So the sigil really comes from him and his penchant for magic and everything like that. But you're starting to remember.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. So like if somebody goes to Westwick, the whole idea is they have to get shrunk down to go into the place. It's hidden within like an illusory tree, so like nobody walking around would really see it. I think we joked in one of the books that a fox went by the fake tree and peed on the fake tree, and they had to get the smell out of the mansion for a while. But so let's take a look at the Draconis map and show you where Westwick is.
You gotta really zoom in.
Well, we have Westwick here in the woods, relatively close to Adelatha, because it was kind of another place for the main characters to go and meet up and everything like that in the original story. But yeah, just a
question. So they're staying tiny in Tellest as the...
Well, I mean, as they come and go, they grow and shrink.
Okay.
So like,
because that is an awesome philosophy for like feeding a town. You could do like an apple will feed them.
oh yeah, it's the Honey I Shrunk the Kids
right.
method. Yeah.
Awesome.
It very much is a kind of situation where it's, hey, we needed to do this for our protection, but
now we can do it for our commerce.
Right. And Wispus definitely has like the room in his mansion, and he's not so like arrogant where he's like, no, it's all mine. Like
right.
He's like, yeah, everybody move in, let's be safe.
I like it.
So let's see.
And
I think
the unicorn is just because of the magic.
Yeah, just because of the magic. He just wanted something that kind of represented him. Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll tell you what. We are at about the halfway point in the show. So we are going to go to our sponsor. And now, a word from our sponsors. Eager to show that you can write an excellent book without following too closely to established tropes, new author Albert T. Franklin turns readers into fans with his debut, Searching for Zen, A Tale of Divine Destiny. Join Zen, a boy with an incredible gift who is bound to shape the form of humanity for ages to come. Franklin weaves a captivating story around this powerful being and endears Zen to many people who are integral to his life. A fellowship is created that will be one for the ages and one that readers will love to root for. If you're looking for an uplifting fantasy that outshines the darkness, look no further. Check out our promo for Searching for Zen, A Tale of Divine Destiny on the Tellest website today. Alright, we are back. We are looking at the back half of today's sigils. So we're going to start with Hillheim, which is a place that we haven't actually been. You trying to verify that we can hear ourselves?
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we're good.
So Hillheim is a place that we haven't been yet, but we have talked about it because it kind of showed up in Heart of the Forest because 2 of our characters were from there. Hillheim is represented with the Chimera, so it's got the 3 heads, and it's kind of made that way because Hillheim is run by a council of humans, dwarves, and gnomes. So we met with
Who?
I don't know. It has never been decided. Would you like to decide? I feel like humans are the snakiest. And I feel like dwarves are goats. But gnomes doesn't really make sense as a lion.
I was going to... Well, you know what? Big personality, tiny body. So, alright, that's canon now.
It's canon now.
Yeah.
So the idea is Hillheim is kind of the mishmash on the western coast. There's things that I know about Hillheim and how it's going to interweave with certain things. I think that I briefly mentioned in Lord of Thunder that the Dorn's family ends up at least acclimated with the area. So Bolt Thunder Fury, his family is Hillheim bound at some point. And we know that Hillheim has a Tower Sphere team. So it'll be fun to kind of integrate them into the mix. Let's show where they are in Draconis. So we've got them right over here in these mountains, just north of Sophenadil, which again, we saw in Heart of the Forest.
And it's brown.
It's brown!
I was going to say, you don't see a lot of flags that are like sigils for towns that are brown.
Well, it's very earthy. It's in the mountains and stuff like that.
It's a brown place.
It's a brown place.
I didn't have anything to say about that because we haven't spent a lot of time there.
You're a magical...
We don't know what's going on in there.
You're a unicorn of a person.
How's it going there?
And then
what are the people like? Are they German? I feel like they're German.
They're German. This one is orange.
It is orange.
So Lakmari, do you know anything about Lakmari if I brought it up?
I don't think so.
So Lakmari is the town that Remembered in Gold and Forgotten Gold took place.
Gold? gold background.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a connection.
And then obviously we have the jade, because that area of Lustra is known for their jade exports and stuff like that. So Lakmari is, again, as I just mentioned, the place where Remembered in Gold took place. It was a short story that came out with Tales of Tellest Volume 1, probably 7 years ago now.
Yeah, about.
And the whole shtick of this town is that they have a lottery that kind of happens as needed, and someone is picked to go on a grand adventure as part of this lottery, but we determine relatively quickly in this story that not everybody who has been chosen to go on these adventures have actually left the town.
Right.
They end up encrusted in gold, as the main character has a kind of Midas touch kind of thing, and he uses a Medusa-like figure to petrify the people who come to be sent off with their lottery winning, essentially.
Now, this town I imagine as kind of like a mix between like a Taj Mahal India-esque combined with ancient Greece.
I mean, and that kind of makes sense, because you got Midas and Medusa as kind of like the Greek kind of things, and then also I feel like it's a little bit like, again, like Indochina a little bit, because I kind of picture the palace that Sazim, the prince, that he lives in, to look a little bit like a pagoda or something like that. I'm always picturing it with like the kind of Chinese Japanese influences.
She's killing me.
She is killing you. You should put her down on the ground so that you don't die.
No, she wants my love.
Yeah, she wants my love, and I must give my love. I really do want to spend more time in Lakmari, and we will have a third book to kind of round out the short story trilogy. And I think at that point, like, we've known and talked about for a long time, like, where we understand the character of Kunal is going to go. Like, he is going to bust out of that gold eventually,
Right.
and he's going to have some like interesting power sets because of that. It was just that we expected to be more done with our stories by now. So, but
how much were the green rupees worth in Zelda?
I think the green rupees were just one.
Were they one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think green was 1, blue was 5, red was 20, purple was 50. Does that sound about right?
So. Yes.
Silver was 100, maybe.
Maybe. So green was 1.
Green was 1.
All right.
Peritas is a city on the island of Ipius, so it's just south of Draconis, the mainland continent. We spent a little bit of time with Argos on our last Sigil watch, and Peritas is basically their opponents on the same island. Both cities have a lot of naval prowess, so the one that we looked at before, Argos, had that the trident. So they kind of had like hey, we're representing Hudorian, the god of the sea. Peritas has a sea serpent kind of swimming through the waves. We've never really spent time in Peritas, but they've had a huge amount of influence in the world of Tellest for not being represented on screen, because they've influenced stuff in the Mageborn series. They've influenced stuff in Heart of the Forest and Silver Serpent, and we're even seeing them start to show up in things like Tower Sphere, and actually the maps too, because one of the ships in the Hidden Harbor Docks map was emblazoned with the Peritas emblem. So we have Sergei did a version of a Tower Sphere champion with the Peritas sigil on his tabard.
Very cool.
Uh-oh.
A Zelda
That was a
tantrum?
Zelda tantrum.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody could have expected.
It's a treat.
So we'll take the real quick look down here. So this is Peritas. So we have Argos and Peritas on opposite sides. And then really the only way to get by land is through the forest. And then recently, within the last couple of weeks, we just did that Watcher's Gatehouse, which is right over here in the middle of that. So we've been spending a little bit of time on Ipius lately.
Yep. I didn't even make the connection that that's where the gatehouse was.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yep. Eventually, I think we're going to do maybe like another overlay that shows where the maps are.
Right.
And you can click on them and it'll take you into like a little preview spot for those things. So that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're moving on to mainland Draconis one more time. We've got Viscosa here, which is the capital city of Raleigh, where we've spent a lot of our time. Viscosa is the town where Adelia basically withdrew to after her house was burned down in the one timeline. And they are obviously a proud bunch, hence the lion being the emblem of choice. They kind of are not really the capital anymore because everybody loves Adelatha so much at this point, to the point where the king of Viscosa is like ticked at the idea of Adelatha kind of taking some shine off of Viscosa. So Viscosa is home to a couple of people that we've met so far. The folks from the Adventurers Guild that we met in Aaron Canton's the Golem Maker of the Hills and the Golem Maker of the City and the Golem Maker of the Tower and everything like that. She lives there with the guild now. We met briefly in a couple of the things that we've looked at. I don't remember if in Bindings of Fate I think Bindings of Fate completely stripped it, but we had a guild called Divine Intervention that we kind of wiped from the story, but I think we briefly see them in flashbacks or something like that. They end up having a little bit of influence there, and the creator of Tower Sphere actually lived in Viscosa. They said, no, you're not going to build Tower Sphere here, so he went to Adelatha, and now that it's a big thing,
they're butthurt about it.
Super jealous. So it's a fun little thing that we got to do. So Viscosa is represented by this huge stamp here. Again, both on the Spirit River. The crap from Adelatha flows downstream. So Adelatha definitely feels to me like it's got they're able to kind of rule the day and steal a lot of the glory from Viscosa.
And Viscosa's too proud to admit it.
They are too proud to admit that they did dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on to our final sigil of the day. We're going to be looking at the Crypt of the Calistrazi. We've talked about the Calistrazi a couple of times on this stream.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the first men who kind of came out of the caves and the mines and the mountains after the convergence. Tantrum! It's here! And the Crypt of the Calistrazi is a secret place in... are you contributing?
She's saying, don't tell the secret.
Calistrazi!
Don't tell where the Calistrazi are.
So the Crypt of the Calistrazi is a place that exists in Siphenadil, which is the forest in southwest Deltane that we featured in Heart of the Forest. And it was really only meant for like various people to kind of take pilgrimages to and then kind of join their ranks. And just by necessity, Kelvin Dracos ends up finding it as well and kind of recruits the people there to help against the dark forces that are amassing in the forest.
This is one of my favorite sigils.
Yeah, it's got like a Celtic knot kind of look to it and everything like that.
Celtic, swirly, nice, and like the black and the purple is very mystical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a lot of like strange ones in Siphenadil because we've got the weird like troll one over here. Scardell, which we'll look at next week, or not next week, but the next Sigil Watch set, has like the weird abstract and fluorescent and everything like that.
That's the funky bunch.
They are very much the funky bunch.
Oh, yeah, that's what their jam is. They got interesting herbs growing in the land.
In the caves.
Yeah, makes them all
So folks, you got to make sure that you don't tell anybody, but this is where the Crypt of the Calistrazi is. Keep it secret, keep it safe. Hello. Have we spent too much time up here? We're just about to wrap up. This is the last sigil. All you gotta do is be patient. So that is the Crypt of the Calistrazi. Randa, do you have any questions about any of the sigils and the places that we looked at on today's Sigil Watch?
What's your favorite and why?
I mean, I like Westwick because it is a lot more magical. It's a place that we've had in the Tellest universe for a long time. And I just like Wispus as a character. You know, like he was my Gaston pre-Gaston. And he kind of gets to do his own little like wizard educator thing with Naralindra. You know, he's teaching her how to cast magic and stuff like that. So I like Westwick for that reason. What's your favorite and why?
Calistrazi.
You like the
Because
Calistrazi
it's trippy.
Trippy and pretty?
Trippy, pretty, mystical, and like it just gives the vibe of like, you know, if you were walking through the woods and you happen to see that sigil, you're not gonna run in fear. You're gonna go, huh?
It's very true. Yeah, it's not very often that you would see that sigil out in the woods, but if you did, it would be so rare that you would be like, what does it mean?
What is this?
What are the numbers? So that is it for us for Sigil Watch today. But as you can see on our art gallery, we have plenty more to come.
Oh, yeah.
And this doesn't even crack the surface. We have new sigils that I think we have on the docket through like the middle of 2026 or 2027. So a lot is coming your way. But let's, do you have anything to say before we cut over to our show closing?
Leave a comment on the YouTube if you want me to do a sigil wand.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right, we're going to cut over to our show closing screen. Rihanna, do you want to do the show closing?
So on the screen, you'll see all of the places that you can find Tellest. We've got Tellest.com, which has most of the Tellest stuff on it. We've got Patreon, where you can get exclusive content. That's patreon.com/Tellest.
What kind of exclusive content?
Like pictures.
I'm so proud of you for trying.
I'm trying. There's pictures. There's like sneak previews of pictures. You get a newsletter if you subscribe.
I'll take care of this.
Wait, no, I got it. Listen,
I put you on the spot.
And then there's like maps. You get maps.
You
too,
get maps
right?
with a question mark.
And you get all like access to like the Patreon gallery, and then there's YouTube where you can see all the streams that we've strummed.
That's what I used to say.
I know.
You are doing so well.
Thanks. And then, ow, and then Luna scratches me. And then there's That's Entertainment, which is entertaining.
I'm going to take over for you, okay? So
she's barking because I'm crying.
Why would you do this to me? So, again, the two exclusive premium places that you want to go to are patreon.com/Tellest, where you can find, again, the art pieces and the maps that we do weekly. Those are the maps that you can actually see while I'm doing the Twitch streams on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Our Etsy is the other place where you can find our premium content. That's tellest.etsy.com. That's where you can find a lot of these kind of sigil things on mugs. Oh! You can get awesome posters, our art book. You can find our maps there, jumbo sized on physical maps. Rihanna's magic wands are there. A lot of cool stuff. The YouTube channel is where you can find this video, where you might be watching this video now if Twitch has taken it off their service, because Twitch only lets it stay there for a couple of weeks.
That's what you say.
There you go. But if you do want to see us live and comment with us live and things like that, that's where you're going to want to go to twitch.tv/thattellestguy for. We do Talking Tellest on Mondays, and we do map features on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Sometimes we throw in an extra day here or there, or we stream gaming as we like. And then the last two places that I'll bring your attention to are our TikTok channels. TikTok.com/@weirdwitchwands is where you can see those magic wands that Rihanna makes. They're handcrafted, one of a kind, and some guy on the internet just favorited like 40 of them.
Yeah, while we were sitting here, the phone just kept buzzing.
And Luna definitely wants me to tell you that you can find her on TikTok.com/@TalesOfTellest, where 90% of the time we're showing these tantrums.
Right.
So if you feel like you've been missing out because we don't have the camera on, that's where you want to go.
Yeah. This is constant every day.
Every day. There is not one Talking Tellest that we've had where she's been silent the entire way through.
She definitely needs all the attention all the time, and we're bad dog parents and we encourage it.
But that is going to wrap us up for today. Join us next week for more Talking Tellest, and join us tomorrow and Wednesday for our map features. And in the meantime, we'll miss you. Thank you.